Hi everyone, my name is Annalie from seventhsensehealing.com and welcome to my second guidance reading. So I'm recording this on Friday the 13th and so far today's been great. The sun is shining, I've been out and walked my dog, I've just seen my neighbour's oldest daughter get taken off to go and get married. I've packed my daughter off to go on her first school trip abroad, and today's really good and the sun is shining and it's so bright and warm. So I hope you are all well, and thank you for your feedback on my first reading from last week. So one question I was asked by one of my yoga students was, is this tarot readings? And it's not tarot readings, these are guidance cards. So what they'll do is just give you maybe some tips for the week, some helpful things. Sometimes we go off course or we forget how to look after ourselves, and these cards will just give us little sort of nuggets really of things to take into account in our week and help us get back on our path. Or maybe we've had something on our mind and the cards might give us that kind of intuition or reminder about what we need to do. So this week again I'm using the Ascended Masters cards. So I think again we'll choose two from this pack and then we'll do one from the Mystical Fairy cards, and both packs are Doreen Virtue. So we're going to ask what we need to know this week. Oh, so our first card is King Solomon and Priorities. So this kind of is following on from last week's reading still, where we were told to think about our work and home life balance. Now I know not everybody works full time or might be working or might be busy at home looking after their children and have lots of things to juggle. So this card is telling us to focus on our priorities. So what is it that you're doing? We talked last week about, are we spending too much time on work? Are we not balancing our home life? And we also talked about maybe writing lists of goals that we want to move forward with. Well, this card's saying we need to still focus on that a bit. We need to work out our priorities. So, what are your priorities and what is it that you need to maybe move up your list and work on, rather than being sucked into work too much, or maybe you've got too much going on at home. Maybe you're renovating your house and you're not looking after yourself in the process. So think about all the things that's going on in your life, probably lots like most of us, and work out what are your priorities. Write down everything you're doing and have a good look at it all and say, actually, is this really important for now? Do I need to do this? Do I need to do this at all? And is there something else that's much more crucial? And maybe if we're following on from last week, maybe the crucial thing is to take some time out and rest at the moment, and perhaps put some of the things on your list for later on in the year and really work out what is important. Because if we spread ourselves too thin, if we try and do everything, if we try and please everybody, we just end up getting tired, run down and ill, and maybe not doing a good job on anything. So really following on from last week, and think about your priorities and how you're going to prioritize. Okay, so we'll take another card from the Ascended Masters pack. Amazing, we've got Apollo and focus on your strengths. Okay, so again, following on, the cards always do this, following on from the last card. So look at your priority list and focus on your strengths. What is it that you're really good at? So sometimes we forget, we get sucked into work, family life, just everyday life, and we forget, what are those things that we're good at. And quite a good thing to do is think back, before you started work, before you got really sucked into a job or some other projects you're working on, and think, what were you good at when you were younger? Maybe what's it you wanted to do when you were younger? Sometimes we forget, sometimes maybe we really liked, art or, swimming or whatever, and we forget that we even enjoyed those things, and it throws us out of balance. So just have a think back. If you can't think immediately what your strengths are, ask your friends or family. Often we can't see our strengths ourselves, and we tend to put ourselves down, and we have a lot of negative thought patterns. So if you can't see your own strengths, then ask your friends and family, maybe work colleagues, what is it that you think I'm good at? And really focus on those. And, maybe when you're looking at your priority list, have a look at on your list, what is it that are your strengths on there? And, are you not prioritising those things, for something else? Are you sacrificing your strengths and working on other things that may be making you tired, depleting your energy, and, throwing yourself out of balance? So really think this week about what your priorities are and what your strengths are, and see how you can move forward with those. And focusing on your priorities, working them out, focusing on your strengths, it's quite life-changing stuff, really. You'll suddenly look at things differently and think, actually, why have I been doing that? It's not even something that I'm really good at, that's on my path. Maybe you've been working on, a new idea or project and it's not going anywhere, perhaps because it's not quite, the right time or in alignment. So really have a look this week at your priorities and work out your strengths, and it'd be really interesting to hear if you do that, what results come up for you. So our final card this week is from the Mystical Fairies pack. Oh, popped out straight away. Brilliant. So this one says, admit your true feelings to yourself. Be honest with yourself. Only you know what you truly desire. So I think that's just, such a great follow-on card. So often in life we think that, there are certain things we're meant to do. Maybe, from a young age we've been told that we should be a certain type of person. Maybe our parents told us that, we should do a certain type of job or work. And, we focused on that, or maybe we chose something when we were young and actually we're doing it now and, it's not feeling right for us anymore. Now, it's really hard when you're in a certain situation to look at that and be really honest with yourself and say, am I really happy here? Is this using my strengths? Is this situation, making me feel happy, full of energy, full of life? Or is it draining me, making me feel tired? Do you feel, stuck in a rut and like you can't get out of that situation? And, you can ask people, we talked, in the previous card about asking people what your strengths are, and, you can look at your priority list and work out what is it you're going to focus on, but you've got to be really honest with yourself. Like this card says, only you know what you really desire. So, people may say, we think your strengths are this. You might look at your priority list and think, I should do this still because it's part of work, or I have to do this because of family commitments. But be really honest with yourself. And as the card says, you know in your heart what you really desire. You know in your heart what you really want from life. So last week we talked about perhaps writing a list of goals, plans, people call it manifestation sheets as well. So it is a new moon this weekend, and it's a really good time when it's a new moon to write down all your goals and write down your dreams and write down what you want to manifest. So do that as part of working out your priorities, your strengths. Why don't you write a manifestation list of what it is maybe you want to achieve in your life? If that's too overwhelming, maybe put what you want to achieve in the next 6, 12 or 3 months or 5 years. Choose any period. I quite like to do, bigger plans, maybe for 5 years, and then I might break it down into what I'm going to do over the next 12 months. Maybe I'm going to take some new courses, do some new studying, set up some new classes, learn to do a new form of healing practice. So I always have lots of things on my list that I'm working towards, and they don't always follow the plan that you've got in mind. Might take longer, might take shorter, something else might pop up. But if we don't focus on what we want in life, if we don't write it down, if we don't set those goals and, ask the universe to help you with those things, then it's never really going to happen. Follows on a bit this morning something I shared about, positive thinking. So often, we think negative and we tell ourselves we can't do something. We think negative and we say, I'm no good at this, I'm never going to achieve this. This is something, I can't do in my life. And, it's complete nonsense. If you change your thinking and say, actually, I can do this, I can do this training, I can change my life, I can change my career, then you will. You've got to think positive, you've got to set your intentions clearly, you know, you've got to write it down, focus on it and make a plan for yourself. So yeah, this reading I think is really following on from last week's, but remember to be honest with yourself and really truly focus on what you want. Forget, you know, what other people might say. Really focus on yourself and think, what is it I want to achieve in this life? And work out your plan for how you're going to do that. So thank you everyone, hope you have a wonderful week, and I'll be back next week with our next reading.